Welcome to the Art Through Perception podcast. I'm your host, Katie, and if you don't know who I am just here to help. Today's episode is going to be about relationships. Now, relationships is one of the things that runs our entire world in our head. Alongside with money, fame, social media, relationships is one of the most important things to us because it is love. It is how we feel and give love. Now, with that being said, a lot of issues come along with this. We have so many problems. We overthink, we need reassurance, we can't communicate, we have trouble learning, we don't know boundaries, we don't know how to say no. There is so much to unpack in this episode. Now, I really want you to get a pen and paper, right? And I want you to reflect this whole episode like I do any episode. I want you to just sit there and really think about yourself and your emotions and how you actually feel about things. Now, a lot of the topics I'm going to be covering today, I made a poll or a questionnaire on my Instagram asking what y'all had trouble with. So I took about 8 or 7 key problems that we were having issues with, and that is what I'm going to touch on. Now I'm going to touch on these. I'm not going to go too in depth. Now I want you to comment down below what you want me to go in depth on, because I'm going to really brush over these and give you a semi-solution kind of explanation, but it may not be enough for everybody. So comment down below if you want me to specifically make an entire episode just about one topic. I can literally do that. I'd love to do that because I just want to help. Now, before I get into all of these, problems that we're having, I need you to understand that relationships are not the only thing in the world, and I know y'all hear this from me a lot, and it's probably because, I'm still basically going through a breakup. Love is, not something I really like right now, and I hate that I even feel that way sometimes. And it's hard not to feel that way, after, going through so many things and dealing with all this pain and frustration, it's hard not to feel like love isn't important. Because it is. Love is very important. And this is me kind of telling myself to remind myself that, hey, love is important. It's always going to be there. And as much as I hate it, every relationship that I've been in, even as bad as it was or how wrong I got done, I learned something. And I was better for the next. And I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly, getting hurt. But with that comes knowledge. When we make mistakes, we learn from them. I'd say my very first relationship I was in middle school, and I cheated. So my first relationship, I learned about faithfulness, right? And I hurt somebody, and I think cheating is probably one of the worst things you can ever do to somebody. And then, it was funny, after the 2 relationships after that, I think it was in high school, I had gotten cheated on both times. Now, I think that's just me. I think that was just the people I was picking. And it's funny, it's like karma. I felt that pain. Now, loyalty to me now is a very important thing. Loyalty is something that I would never play about when it comes to being in a relationship, because I would never ever in my entire life want to ever hurt anybody the way I got hurt. See, and if I was to never get hurt, I would have never learned that. What I'm trying to say is just don't give up on love, because there's never going to be an end for it. And even if you do feel like there is an end for it right now, it's not. It's going to keep going. You will fall in love again, and hey, you might even get hurt again. But hey, you might learn something new again. In a weird way, that's why I like getting my heart broken, because I feel like it makes me better, and it makes me better for whoever I may ever run into again. And without pain, there will be no learning. So try not to look at love in a negative light, because it's so hard not to. Because I even find myself right now looking at love like I absolutely just don't like it at all. It's a beautiful thing. And we're so lucky to even be able to experience love. Now, we're going to ignore everything I just said. Well, don't ignore it. It is very true. But we're going to jump into everything that I actually wanted to jump into. And one of the main things, this isn't something that was really mentioned when people were jotting down what was actually bothering them in relationships, but one of the main things that I've noticed about this generation, and even with myself, is that we fall in love so fast. Insanely fast, crazy fast. Love truly needs to be built on patience and taking time. People are so ready to rush into something because of lust. And I know that's hard to admit, but it's very true. We rush into things because, ooh, lust, and ooh, feelings and emotions and all of this dopamine. That's not how it should be. We need to really work on just literally slowly getting to know somebody. There should be no rush to make a label. There should be no rush to be able to post somebody or do whatnot, whatever you want to do. Take your time, because what happens is that we rush into things and we have these whole futures built up in our heads within a month. And then something happens. Well, what happens is you learn who this person actually is. And when you learn who this person actually is, this may not be somebody you want to be with. This is why it's so important to take our times when we're getting to know somebody, because you need to get to actually know them. Not know them as in make a scenario up in your head and a nice future with butterflies and rainbows, because that's not how it's going to be. You don't even know this person. You've known them for 3 months, and you think you're going to marry them. This generation is notorious for that, and I am notorious for that. I mean, hey, maybe we're just big lovers, but at a certain point we need to chill out, because clearly it's getting us hurt. Clearly we're setting big expectations because we're setting all these scenarios in our head, and they're getting knocked down to the floor because of our own brains, because we are running with this idea of love and just completely falling when we realize somebody is not who we actually think they are. Another thing with that is I feel like it's not right. I feel like it's not fair to somebody to put these standards on them. And even the relationship I was just in, and I don't like to talk about it like too much about other people because I don't know if they're going to watch it or not, but the relationship I was just in, the guy, he's told me that I wasn't who he thought I was. I wasn't, somebody that he saw in the pictures. And in my head, I was like, you really, it was very clear that this person had an idea for who I was. Had a whole person made up in his head who he thought I was. And that's not the case at all. And because of that, I realized that I do that myself. Even I do that. And the way I felt when I was told that, I was like, wow, that's so unfair. It's so unfair. And I felt like you didn't even give me a chance because you already had an idea of what you wanted me to be. And because I wasn't that, we didn't work. Don't do that to somebody because it hurts. It genuinely, it hurts. You shouldn't set an idea for somebody. Let somebody show you who they are. Good or bad. Let somebody show you who they are. Now we can actually talk about what we need to talk about. The number one was individuality. Individuality. Am I saying that right? It's been a long day. We lose ourselves so fast when we get into relationships. We can all say we've been guilty of that. It's so easy to just, make somebody your entire world because it's fun. You're happy, you're in love. Who doesn't want to be in love 24/7? Love is such a consuming thing, and because of this, we lose ourselves. We completely lose ourselves. You stop doing your hobbies, you stop being productive, you stop, taking care of yourself because you're so distracted. You're distracted because you're in love. Although you don't see a problem with it now, let's say you are in love right now and you're making this person your world. Yeah, that's nice, but it will ruin your relationship in the long run. And there is no if so what but, because you will mess up your relationship because you are not having your own life. One of the keys to a successful relationship is being an individual. Is being somebody that has hobbies, is being somebody that's going to go out by themselves and do their thing. I think both people need to have their own worlds, but I think that's what's so beautiful is that you can be different people but still love each other. And that is another thing, coming together and learning how to be hey, okay, I'm gonna have my time, you have your time, we come together. Now that makes our time even more special. Instead of making your entire world somebody, although the idea sounds nice and all lovey-dovey, it's not, because you're going to get sick of somebody or, you're going to get frustrated. Sometimes you may not even know why you're frustrated, but you may be frustrated because you're not having your alone time. As much as you may not see it, you need to be alone sometimes. You need to have your own hobbies. You need to have a life because you are human. Without having a life, you will not feel alive, okay? And if you won't feel alive, you're going to get frustrated, and then two people not feeling alive and being frustrated together, you break up. It doesn't go well because you start depending on them. You start depending on how, if they feel sad, you feel sad. If they're mad, you're mad. If they're having a bad day, you're having a bad day because you're making this person your entire world. That is not healthy. That is not healthy. Now, of course, be there for somebody, if they're having a bad day, help them through it. But at the same time, if you have something to do that day, go do it. If you had plans that day, maybe you can set aside a little something. But if you have something you need to do, you still have a life. You are still you. You can't not be you just because you're in a relationship. Now, if you're in a scenario like this right now, I need you to pick up your hobbies. Pick back up your hobbies. Go out to a coffee shop alone. Take care of yourself alone. Have personal self-care days. How about 30 minutes a day or an hour a day? If you're on the phone with this person, take an hour away. Reconnect with yourself. And it's so important. It's so important because a lot of the time when we get into relationships, we kind of just completely forget about taking care of ourselves because we're so worried about somebody else. Don't do that. Now, one of the biggest factors was talking about trust and forgiving. Trust is probably one of the biggest things in a relationship. If there is no trust, there is no love at all. A lot of us have trouble even giving somebody trust in the first place, and honestly, I have full respect for that. I feel like trust can be something that needs to be earned. A lot of the time, people that have gone through a lot of things can't just give trust right away, which is understandable. But you cannot, completely just go into a relationship not trusting somebody. And I think that's unfair to somebody because if they did nothing to lose your trust, there's no reason why you should be acting like a little crazy because they're going out by themselves or they're dressing up or they're doing something you kind of don't like. And you're acting out because you don't trust them. If they gave you no reason not to trust them, there should be no reason to act like that. And that can ruin somebody's, spirit. If somebody, if somebody starts acting like they don't trust me for no reason, I'm like, it pushes me away. It makes me not want to be there because it's like, why would I have to sit here and prove myself for you? Or like, I did nothing for you to act like this towards me. Again, it's an unfair feeling for your partner. Now, with earning trust, I really feel like, because I can't speak for everybody, but this is something that you need to have a conversation with. If you are in a relationship and you feel like there is not enough trust or it's never really been talked about, have a real conversation where it's like, do you trust me? Like, what is your trust levels with me? And if they're not where they need to be, how can I earn your trust? Because everybody's different. Everybody sees and receives things differently. We receive love differently. We receive trust differently. And you need to understand what that is for them. And then you need to express what that is for you. You need to express how you need to see trust, how you need to build up trust for somebody. And then they're going to tell you vice versa. And I think that's just something that you need to take on to your own. A lot of the time, there really is no understanding of that. Other than, I think the only one understanding I could say for you is that people are always going to do what they're going to do. And I have a really big understanding of that. Like, I get numb. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, it's like, I don't care if you cheat on me. I don't care. You wouldn't care. I wouldn't trip out. I'd be like, okay, that's nice. That's cool. Have fun. I have an understanding that everybody's going to do what they're going to do, and you can't ever stop somebody from cheating. You can't ever stop somebody from hurting you. What's going to happen is going to happen. Why would I waste my breath telling you how much you hurt me? Honestly, I don't care. Honestly, you don't deserve to even hear from me. You don't deserve to see how I feel. I feel how I feel. Now you're going to feel the loss of me. I don't need to express to you what you did wrong to me. You know what you did wrong to me. There should be no explaining. And that's how I feel about that. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. People are going to do what they're going to do. People are going to make mistakes. You don't have to hate somebody, but they're going to fuck up, and you're going to fuck up. You may be the villain in somebody's story, but hey, that's okay. Life goes on. Life always goes on. Because at the end of the day, we are all still little children. And I know that sounds weird. We're little kids that learned how to love from parents and families that didn't know how to love before us. Who knows what we went through Like, a lot of us saw, like, terrible love examples. Maybe our parents weren't even together. Maybe we didn't have parents, or maybe we had one parent. Those are not good examples of love. Maybe we had a cheater as a parent. Maybe we had a liar as a parent. We don't have correct examples of love, and that's okay. And you need to understand that we are still learning. Everybody is still learning. We are still just these hurt little kids that don't know what we're doing. We're literally running around aimlessly. That's why I say, like, I'm not mad that I've been through what I've been through. I'm learning. And that way one day if I am ever a wife or something, I'm gonna know everything I need to know. This is my experience. This is my school. I'm in school to learn how to love, right? And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Of course it hurts. But I feel like it will be worth it in the end goal. And it always will be worth it. Now, I had 2 submissions about communication. One was about, like, communication in general, like how to, just have conversations with somebody. And the other one's, like, deep communication, like how do I communicate my feelings to somebody. Now, I'm going to touch on the easiest one first. Communication with a person. I think we kind of don't view it as important as we should. A lot of the time we text, and whether or not you see it, you're kind of just responding. There is no meaning to the conversation. There is no you learning about them to the conversation. It's kind of just responding. Now, my advice for that is to not text as much. And when you do text, I want you to make sure that you have real conversations, deep conversations, truly getting to know somebody for who they are, truly being able to be there and just listen and conversate instead of just responding, instead of just texting to text because you want to feel like you're doing something. No, I want you to hold conversation very important to you, because I feel like a lot of us don't really think about that. That's something we don't think about until it's too late. Real communication, like communication as in we need to talk about a fucking issue. You need to be okay with telling your feelings. And if there is a guy listening to this, or even girls, guys and girls get like this, it's hard. It's hard to express how you're feeling, and I understand that. But if you want love to work, and if you want a relationship to work, you need to be able to be open, or it's not going to work. You may be able to find a relationship, but I promise you it won't be a good one. You need to express how you feel. You need to express what you need. You need to express how you need to receive love, how you receive reassurance, how you receive care, because we don't understand that, but we all view everything so different, so different. Like, I care for somebody this way, but if somebody cares for me in their way, I don't receive it. I don't see that as caring. You need to talk about this. Like, these are such, like, please, like, take notes. You need to talk about how you see care and how you feel love and how you feel reassurance. And then you need to understand that on their part. You need to understand how they feel those things, how they need those things. And you need to be open and honest, like so honest. And I know that's hard because, like, it's weird asking for things, but you're not asking for things. You're really not. You're trying to make it work. There was a couple of other things I wanted to touch on, but I don't have time because I have to get up at 5 in the morning, so I'm going to cut it a little shorter than usual. But one more thing that I wanted to talk about was knowing when to let go. And a lot of us have a problem with that, is understanding that something is just not going to work. You need to recognize when something is no longer serving you. If something is just frustration and anger and arguments, that is not serving you. If this situation that you are in is not giving you happiness and love and learning, you don't need it. There is somebody else out there that can give you that and more, that can give you the reassurance that you need, that can give you the love you need. If you haven't expressed, right? If you haven't expressed what I was telling you, like you need to express how you need to be loved, how you need to be cared for. If you have already talked about that, you don't need to be dealing with that. Because there's plenty of fish in the sea, and there will always be fish in the sea, okay? And I know you're scared to be alone, and I know it's terrifying. It's terrifying not having a partner, because you get lonely, and you don't know what to do, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But would you rather go through all this pain, or would you rather go through pain for about 2 weeks of a breakup, 2-3 weeks a month or so, and then heal, and then feel better, and then find the love of your life eventually? Hey, I think the second option is better than just sitting there being miserable. If it's not serving you, it is time to let go. I love you. Also, you got this, right? It's a lot. Relationships are a lot, and they're never going to be easy. But we have so much to understand. And like I said before, there's a lot more that I wanted to talk about. It's so compact because there's so many different things that I tried to shove in here at once. If there was something that you heard me say, or something that you just want me to make an entire episode, it can be just about jealousy, just about clinginess, just about overthinking. I can make you an entire episode about that, because I know a lot of this was just base touching everything and I wasn't really going in depth. But I hope that I was able to reassure you, or like kind of open your mind to some things that you need to have your mind open to. And if you need more opening, let me know. I love you so much. This is Art Through Perception. I'm your host, Katie. Have a good night, or day, or evening.